Karina.
And we welcome you to episode 3 of RSTD, live from the kitchen table.
Where we drink kombucha, weird word, but amazing benefits.
Kombucha is actually a fermented tea beverage, and upon first sniff,
don't tell. Listen, it's an acquired taste for sure, but it's got amazing benefits. Probiotics, it helps with your gut. I mean, it's low in sugar.
This is one of our favorite drinks so far, and we wanted to share it with you today because we're super passionate about it. We're going to have an in-depth profile on all the amazing benefits.
Yes.
But so far, one of my favorite flavors is lavender.
I got the guava goddess, and it just sounds sexy, so try this one first.
But don't base all your beverage choices based on a sexy name or not.
True.
We'll go into the real details in another episode, but
definitely.
We're not just, we promise you, we're not talking about kombucha this whole time. What are we actually here to talk about
so
today?
we're actually talking about something more serious, which is not kombucha.
Alright, let's get more serious.
Yeah, let's go on serious face. So, what we're talking about today is something that we've certainly experienced. Something that we know our friends and family have come to us and experienced. And it's, what am I doing with my life? Now, we know you're probably thinking, yep, I definitely said that to myself before.
We've all been there.
Yes, we totally have. And it's in those big transitional periods of your life. So, going into college, coming out of college, do I go to grad school? Do I not go to grad school? Do I take a full-time job? Do I take 2 part-time jobs? What do I do? So, we're going to focus more on how to refrain and recenter and refocus yourself. But for now, we wanted to share with you a reader's number 1 challenge. And she would like to remain anonymous, but she said, by all means, go. And, I think that this should be spoken to the masses because it sure is a freaking problem that we're all going through.
Yeah.
So here goes. She said, my number 1 challenge in leading a healthy and happy life would have to be work-related for me. I wake up in the morning thinking, God, give me the strength to get through this day. Although I have half of it right in turning to my faith for support, I shouldn't just be getting through the day, she said. It's not my personality to live like this. Current work situations have been taking a toll on my being, refocusing my perspective to conquering the day instead of surviving the day has been my current challenge.
So that's something that we both have experienced on a personal level.
Definitely.
And when we think about going from a surviving to thriving mentality, we think that it's this long, arduous process. And it can be on some levels, but we can actually confront this challenge full on by breaking down to little micro steps on a daily basis. So how do we do that? Well, it starts with being very honest with yourself and giving yourself the permission to ask the right and empowering questions. So if you keep asking, what is the source of your unhappiness, maybe that's not going to get you to a solution as quickly. So, for example, what I would want to ask myself is, why am I feeling the way I am? Is it because I'm not feeling appreciated at my job? Is it because I feel like I'm not effectively providing value to my job? Is it because I'm not using my strengths and the skills to create a meaningful impact? And just because we have those questions doesn't mean that we should just quit our job. And I think it comes down to, if you're feeling this every once in a while, that's okay. That's completely normal. We all go through our ups and downs.
Definitely.
But if you're feeling this on a daily basis, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and really not be afraid to be honest with yourself.
And, we all know that work can feel like it's consuming us sometimes. But it's only consuming us if we let that happen and if we allow it to consume ourselves. So, not to put my Greek 2 cents into this. Again.
Here we go again.
Last week we talked about Oppa, but, there's something else I want to bring up that we mentioned last week. If you tuned in, we talked about the Oppa Way by Alex Patakos. He's been on TEDx talks and he's fantastic, so we'll put that in the footnotes so you can check it out. But he also mentioned something so beautiful that I, shamelessly did not even know about my own culture. And we know about the oracle, right? So the Greek oracle, you're supposedly supposed to go to this oracle and ask all the questions, most likely, what's my destiny? What am I doing with my life? Am I going to be here, there? All these questions that we're going through, you'd ask this oracle and it would supposedly kind of give you the answers and advice. But what we all don't know, and something I didn't know, is that in your procession and entrance into the Temple of Apollo, there's an inscription on the top. And you know what it says? It says, "Know thyself." And there's kind of this metaphor happening. So you're going into a place that's supposed to answer your questions, but before you get there, it's saying, "Know thyself." So in a way, it's like what you were discussing before. Ask these questions yourself. So maybe what this oracle is telling you as verbatim, as truth, as fact, as the end-all be-all, is not really the answer. Maybe it's the journey of you figuring out, is this right for me? Was it wrong for me? Know thyself.
And I think that is imperative when it comes to your career choices and your work and professional life, because a lot of times we compare and we think, because a lot of my friends are going into corporate jobs, should I be doing that? But when you're figuring out what job you want to take next, think of these questions. Do I work well on a small team, or do I want to be on a huge dynamic sales force? Do I work better in a structured environment, or do I work well when there's more flexible arrangements? Do I want to be helping a company build up its organization, or do I want to be in an already well-established and prestigious firm? Do I value money and currency and culture and legacy? Which one do I value the most?
Right.
And I think when you are firm on your values and you know what you really deeply care about most, that will help guide which career you end up choosing, which company you end up choosing. Because perhaps you really are fascinated by a certain subject. Say you're an engineer and you're really passionate about the topic, but you decide not to go with a certain company because of the culture and the types of people that are there. You would rather be in a more innovative and a more autonomous organization.
Yeah, and it's almost like in a world that we're living in today where we feel like we kind of have to wear different masks. Almost like a Greek tragedy or comedy. They put on a different mask to kind of hide who they are. We're kind of losing our core essence. So we're not really setting our true purpose and intention out there when we walk into an interview somewhere, when we, look at a new school that we're interested in going. So we're thinking, maybe we should be more like this, or I need to put on a role because this isn't engineering school, or this isn't art school, or, we kind of mask ourselves when maybe deep down inside, we're a little quirkball, or we are a little bit of a nerd, and, we think we have to suppress who we are, and maybe being who you are is going to track the correct path for you to come down.
Hands down, I believe this is the number one mistake many schools, career centers,
are not telling you.
And LinkedIn articles aren't really getting to the root issue, which is know thyself. And when you know who you are and what you value, it's so much easier to make those big life choices. And listen, it's so easy to get into the comparison game and I should be doing this or I should be there. I'll be honest with you, when I was in undergrad, I would go to a lot of these conferences that were on topics that I were very passionate about, such as social enterprise, which is about being in a business that helps solve problems like environmental and social issues. And I'd go there and I would see all these young entrepreneurs that were even maybe younger than me, that were 20 years old, that started a company or nonprofit. And I'm sitting there and I have this really, I get insular and think, what have I been doing? How have I not performed at this level yet?
Right.
And when you compare, we put a quote out the other day, that is the thief of all joy.
Yeah. And we always would have these conversations. So this girl would go to a social event, she'd call me up and she'd be like, Katerina, what am I doing? And I go, well, listen, I'm in the same boat because I've been in retail from age 15 to, not anymore. Not putting down retail.
No. No job is beneath anyone.
See, that's the thing. When people talk like this, they think, well, you're putting down this and you're putting down that. It's like, no, I'm just knowing who I am and knowing that that's not for me anymore, maybe. Maybe, you know, you go through your transitions thinking, you know what, I did my time, I saw what I needed to see, I grew, I was able to present myself and speak to clients and kind of, it helps you learn lifelong lessons. But when you're feeling the cattiness and the this and the that and the competition, thinking, ooh, maybe I am more of I have a different mindset that needs to be allocated somewhere else. And that's okay. Not putting them down, not putting yourself down, just knowing where you thrive, not just survive.
Yes, and I also think it's very important, as many of us are taking on maybe different part-time jobs or in different careers, it's important to realize, is this just a stepping stone in my life or is this my life's work? Because if you're, say, in a part-time job and you like it, you like the people there, but if you're coming in every day being like, oh my God, what am I doing? Then you're not fully showing up. Yeah. And what I believe is that when you're at your current job, or if you're freelancing, whatever project you are pursuing right now, you're interviewing for your next job. So that means that you don't know who's looking. You don't know who you just met or shook hands with. You don't know who's seeing your work. True. You don't know who just read that article of yours. You have to be showing up 100%.
Every single
day. Put
day.
Everything into it, even if it's not your dream career yet.
Yeah. You have to just always be yourself. And, you know, sometimes I think we fear that we're going to be judged by others. That's another main issue in our society, that as up-and-coming entrepreneurs or millennials, as you know they're calling us, it's as if, ooh, what if I don't make that mark? Or what if I was supposed to do this, or they wanted me to do this, but my heart is really here. And like you said, you know, you have to show up. You have to just be true to yourself. So even just acts of kindness, being nice, saying thank you, goes a long way. You don't realize what an impression you might make.
And just to kind of wrap it up, what we were saying is what's missing from the job force articles and how to improve your career is really knowing who you are and also knowing what situation you're in right now. So I'm not telling you to quit your job because it's not in alignment with who you are. Not by any means. If you're responsible for paying off these certain student loans or paying off your rent, and we're all in that situation, but you have to be conscious and realize that you always have a choice in the matter. So if you're realizing, okay, this is just a part-time job, it's going to help me get from A to B, that's great, but you're not going to have to be there forever. Right. And ultimately, it's up to you, it's up to us when we're ready to take that leap of faith.
So on that note, we're ever evolving creatures, and know thyself is always going to be evolving too. So you have to ask yourself better questions and check in, engage. You know, if you're in a job right now and you're thinking, well, to hell with this job, it sure as hell is not me, you know, ask those better questions. If you're looking for a new job, well, bring your values to the table and see if it's going to be in alignment with that new job. Because we're always changing. Our attitude, our mind, our environment, where we locate ourselves, who we're with. So we have to always be privy to the fact that we're changing, so is the world. So always try to, you gotta be a flagpole, not a flag. So you always want to remain grounded.
I like that. I like that a lot. But we want to say thank you so much for joining us for episode 3 of Renaissance Swag TV. We'll be back next week, and we are so excited to engage with you in the comments below.
Yes, please tell us, your challenges, or maybe what you're working on in your transitional moments.
And you can check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, or at the blog, www.renaissanceswag.com.
So we'll talk soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay, because both of us were like, yeah. No.
No.